r/AskReddit. What did the weird kid in your school do that you'll never forget? This girl decided she wanted to be pregnant. She proceeded to ask probably half the people in our high school if they would impregnate her, and then when that didn't work she brought a Ziploc bag and asked 4 guys to jizz in it. Everyone called her sperm bank after that, and I honestly can't remember her real name. Naruto ran everywhere, told everyone her dad was Harry Potter at age 12, and most memorably, came to school bawling her eyes out because she said she had laid an egg and her parents had eaten it for breakfast. There was actually a kid in my school who got his name changed so it'd have Harry Potter in the middle. Nobody knew about this until he won a medal for something and his name got printed in a newsletter. Ate a sheep eye we were supposed to dissect in science class. Man oh man. Ended up in a mental institution because his parents bought him a new mattress, and while removing the old one they found multiple mason jars full of blood. No exaggeration, 2 gallons total. There was a police investigation and turned out it was all his blood. His only answer as to why was just in case. Went to a large school, around 3,000 students. If anyone said anything to the weird kid that he didn't like, he would stare at you and recite your name and address. A little creepy, also a little impressive, honestly. Robbed a gas station dressed as a ninja, armed with a katana. Stole cash from the register, all the cigarettes he could carry, and a bunch of lottery tickets. He then fled across state lines with a 17-year-old girl. He was 19. Not a great result for him. 7th grade, guy didn't have a pen/pencil for the test and the teacher wouldn't give him one. You need to be prepared, blah. Yeah, the dude took out a paper clip, straightened it out, stabbed himself, and started doing the test using his blood as ink. He was quickly sent to the nurse's office. At an all-school assembly during my freshman year, a motivational speaker posed an easy rhetorical question to the crowd, and the weird kid in my grade unnecessarily shouted out the answer, to every bored person's sudden delight. For some reason, trying to maintain his authority, the speaker asked our weird kid, "What's your name, son?" Without pause, weird kid stood up from his chair and loudly proclaimed, "My name is Budja." This announcement was met with raucous applause and laughter from the entire student body. It was gloriously random and weird. From then on the weird kid was known only as Budja in our small town. It fit him better than Sean, and he ducking owned that name until graduation. There was this huge guy, tall and wide, in our classes. To support his impressive body, he ate a lot. He'd bring an entire roll of cookies, like 20 plus, and stack them on one side of his desk. Then he would take one bite out of cookie number 1 and put it to the other side of his desk. Then he would take one bite out of the next cookie and place that one on top on cookie number 1. He'd go through the whole stack until all cookies were partially eaten and in a neat stack on the other side of his desk. Then he would do it again. Take one bite of the top cookie in place that in the original side of the desk, bite the next cookie, etc. After maybe 15 minutes of biting and stacking, the whole lot was gone. Now we weren't even supposed to eat in class, but he always got away with it somehow. Dressed like the Queen of England, hair, shoes, and everything, from elementary to middle, then dressed like a doll for a year, tried to hook up with everyone, got kicked off stage at a talent show for doing a burlesque routine, would work her sexual prowess into every oral report, and her last year she came to school 2 times in just a mini skirt and bra. I didn't know her personally at all, but I've kind of suspected she might have been sexually abused or something. So, there was a guy at our school when I was a freshman that everyone called Wolfman, who was weird in all the bad ways. He claimed to have superpowers, teleportation, DBZ like energy creation and whatnot. All the girls said he'd just stare at them if they had class with him. He hung around us freshmen and did his best to flirt with the girls. For an example of his flirting, he once told a girl that while astral projecting, he saw her face on Jupiter. Needless to say, girls stayed away from him. He graduated though, and his brother started at the school. Now, Wolfman wasn't a tall guy by any stretch of the imagination, maybe 5 feet at most, but his brother was a good foot shorter than him. He looked like he belonged in 3rd grade. He never got any taller. It didn't help. that he always wore a child's Goosebumps jacket that made people start calling him Goosebumps. He was even more convinced of his powers than his brother, but at least he was less sexually creepy, but that's all he had going for him. One memorable day I was in math class, and he started shaking violently. People ignored him, so he started flapping his arms around. Wondering if this was an actual seizure, the girl next to him put her hand on him and asked if he's okay. He growled back, "Take your hand off me, this power is too much to contain." She started yelling at him for faking a seizure and he went back to normal death stare forward, grumbling about his powers. One girl in my grade at high school, so 4 years from age 12 through 16, cut herself to fill a vial with her own blood and wore it around her neck. Also wore cat ears and a tail to school and would chase people around meowing and hissing and trying to scratch them. She was ducking fast too, especially when she'd climb upstairs on all fours. In hindsight, maybe some psychological issues at play, but she wasn't ever part of the special needs classes, just a regular student like the rest of us, I guess. During my 6th grade graduation, our class sang a song. Weird kid is standing next to me on stage and suddenly projectile vomits and some of it landed on my shoes. Impressively, he still kept singing, while I stood there wide-mouthed in horror and disbelief. I'll never forget all the gasps from the crowd. A few days before a pep assembly, anonymously posted signs all over school that said the cock is coming. Teachers and school administrators were obviously concerned but clueless. Smuggled a live rooster into the assembly and partway through the opening speech at the assembly, whipped it out over his head as it went apeshit. Entire gym full of kids stood up and started chanting cock, cock, cock. Was not seen at school for a few days after that. One got caught rubbing one out under his desk. Another got every girl in our grade to sign a contract before he moved in 3rd grade, saying that if he ever returned, they would owe him one date. This MFer came back in 11th grade, to every girl's dismay, but forgot about the contracts. Edit: I borrowed kid one's phone in like 8th grade as a last resort to look up my math homework. As soon I typed the P in problem set, I was bombarded with the hub results. Dude didn't even use incognito. In a massive snoop move, I just took a glance at his history and found out that he watched porn on his phone almost all day, morning, afternoon, evening. Bonus features: there was another kid who got in trouble for trying to start a fire in the toilet, unsuccessfully of course. The next week he brought supplies and actually did it. Got expelled right quick. 8th grade. There was another kid who decided, in the same bathroom, that he would find a guy peeing in a urinal, then pee on him to assert dominance. He wasn't expelled. 7th grade. Another kid made a Fortnite joke on Facebook about wanting to shoot his friend with a shotgun before acquiring a chug jug. Some mom took it literally and reported a shooting threat to the high school. I'm pretty sure he went to a party. We see his neighbor let our town Facebook group know that he left his house around the time the police were called. There was a town circle jerk calling for a manhunt. He moved away. 12th grade. Extra double bonus feature, somewhere in the comments, is the story of how I should technically be the richest man in the world. Extra triple bonus feature, I've been thinking about some more of these kids. There was one who was a senior when I was a freshman. We were friends session gym. One day in the locker room, he told me that he did ketamine while drunk the night before and his friends shoved a peanut butter jar in his ass. However, he couldn't get it out. You could see the flat part of the lid under his boxers. I have no clue how he managed to make it through a school day like that. After school, he melted butter and poured it into his ass, then squeezed out a massive shit, pulling the jar out in the process. Definitely thought twice before talking to him again, but we were a killer handball team. I met his mom at the hospital. He's in a mediocre black metal band now. Super extra quadruple bonus feature. There was also one kid who I almost killed. It was after nighttime marching band practice last year. I had a full car of children to drive home, and I managed to wrangle everyone into the car by 10:30 p.m. I'm getting ready to drive out of the lot when I notice an extra speed bump that I didn't remember from before. I slam the brakes before I hit it and get out to inspect it, since I didn't believe that someone built a bump in 4 hours. Lo and behold, it's a body. This weird kid decided to lie down, face first, in black clothes on black asphalt in the black night. I nudge him with my foot and ask him if he's okay. He's mad, tells me I interrupted his nap, and then walks home. I was a couple inches from ending his life. We were getting DNA samples in biology. Most of the class used spit, but he tried to squeeze milk out of his nipples. Yes, this was when we were 14 to 15. Thank you for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe.